Ride and chop to speed through the three kingdoms. Introduction to my Invincible Han Dynasty. www.zhaozuiyuan.com Qin Hao entered the Han Dynasty with his gaming system. In order to become a high-level player ahead of schedule, he bought a hibernation pod and planned to enter the public beta. But why aren't there any other players? Is there a shortage of internal testers? He doesn't care anymore, he must become stronger as soon as possible. Then the end of Han became even more wild. Cao Cao said, in order to gain the appreciation of Duke Qin, Wei https://www.zhaozuiyuan.com. Chapter 1. This game is top-notch. You are listening at novel full.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, a short-term hibernation chamber and various equipment are placed in a basement. Qin Hao, a player from Empire Civilization, put on a holographic booster suit and inserted various needles from the hibernation chamber into various positions on his body. Next, he put on his biointelligence helmet and slowly lay down in his hibernation chamber. Ready. Go ahead and kill. Start button, the compartment door slowly closes. He will lie here for 3 months until the version of the public restroom starts. Character modeling. Only basic facial contouring. It's a bit regrettable. If possible, Qin Hao would like to create a Warcraft face or a Tauren with a strong deterrent effect. Perhaps this game will release various patches in the future. His appearance is like that of Yanzu, his color is like a crown, and his figure imitates that of Ian. Actually, there's no need to be so troublesome. Just use Qin Hao's own appearance and figure. It is best not to recreate reality in the game to prevent fraud and personal attacks. The anti-fraud app has always been embedded in the most prominent position on Qin Hao's phone. Enter the game. The loading is fast and the screen appears. The north wind swept through, the wild grass swayed, and the flying sand and stones hit the face in excruciating pain. The night is dark, and the moon and stars are faintly visible. The air was filled with the smell of oil and fire, and the surrounding flames shone, causing the sound of knives and knives shaking. Bend down and pick up a handful of soil, open your palm to let the sand and dust leak out of your fingertips. Realistic. All kinds of perceptions are very realistic, and the environmental simulation is too strong. As a veteran gamer, the first step is to check your own information. With a moment of thought, only one can see a virtual panel projected in front of oneself that others cannot see. Life. Qin Hao. Gender. Male, temporary. Level. LV1. Power. 100 physical strength. 100 intelligence. 100 agility. 100 speed. 100 energy. 100 defense. 1000 attack power. 1000 blood gas. 1000 anger value. 0.1000 skills. Ordinary knife technique LV.1, ordinary shooting technique LV.1, ordinary cavalry technique LV.1, ordinary spear technique LV.1. Weapon. Park Dao, bow and arrow, X10, prop. Primary HP recovery potion X3. Coins. 100. This is his opening attribute. The blood gas value is not directly displayed and can only be viewed by opening the system. There is no magic value, which means that the skill does not need to rely on MP. Perhaps it is because of simulating ancient wars, so spells cannot be used, right? There is still anger value, which probably needs to be accumulated. Currently, it is 0, but Qin Hao was shocked because it means he can open an unparalleled game. Enemy shame, I'll go take off his clothes. Although it's something from childhood, it's really satisfying to be able to open an unparalleled game. He understands the general attributes, but what kind of energy is this? Is it that aspect? Qian Hao doesn't understand. Put your hand underneath. Dig a groove. Suddenly startled. That thing is actually there too. And it's still his own 33 centimeters, definitely 33 centimeters, he measured it with his own ruler. He. This game is top-notch, he likes it and will definitely have great potential in the future. Now, while there is no one around, pull out the throwing knife. It's heavy and heavy. First, practice and adapt to it, and do a few combos. He wants to become a combination of technical and data flow, invincible and overwhelming. Empire Civilization Battle is a world-class bio-intelligent holographic immersive simulation game. This game is created by dozens of countries around the world jointly building a bio-intelligence AI platform, perfectly restoring various historical backgrounds, and bringing players into the virtual world through advanced bio-intelligence helmets. In the game, players will land in various empires and face the test of time. Players will create and lead their civilization towards a higher era to become world leaders. In the process of attempting to establish world civilization, one can launch wars, develop the economy, formulate policies, engage in diplomacy, and so on. The game is built independently by the core biological intelligence AI platform, and companies from various countries are not allowed to freely control the resources within the game. Various NPCs are also controlled by advanced AI, and various phenomena such as weather cannot be changed arbitrarily by individual game companies. The timing of games and reality is different. Firstly, this game can be played through a dream mode, which means that players can use their sleep and rest time to enter the game, equivalent to entering the game and dreaming, without taking up their normal work time. Secondly, the game schedule is different from the outside world. A day in the game is equivalent to an hour in reality. Of course, the return on gaming is also quite substantial. Game companies can use various game settings in the game that can be linked to biological intelligent electrical operations to achieve mining, and players can also profit from it to exchange for real currency. Exchange currency can purchase various props in the system, as well as store and withdraw funds, and so on. With benefits, players flock to this game, making it quickly become the world's top-ranked game. In order to dominate the game faster, Qian Hao obtained an internal toilet account through high-level friends he met in the game company, and also used all the remaining money to buy a dormant warehouse. Enter the game 3 months in advance, find Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com and fully devote yourself to developing with all your time. To the northwest of Changxi City. The Yellow Turban Army, which was ordered to ambush the Han Army's northwest reinforcements, is stationed here. A team of 10 people came to explore the way. As they skimmed over the grass, they heard someone's voice. The leader of the team, Shi Changyuan, looked far and wide, only to find himself dancing a knife in the grass. It's not like practicing martial arts. The person flipped left and right on the ground, sometimes with a huge knife slashing towards the sky and sometimes on the ground, jumping back and forth, and then forward several times in a row, even spinning in circles in place. He looks like an epileptic, just like the second Wu in the next village after being bitten by a dog. Go around. Nevertheless, Chief Shi remained vigilant, dismounting and walking, while allowing the soldiers to quietly go around. The first reaction was to check if it was an enemy or a friend. Zhang Manqing in the southwest captured Wancheng, and Yuzhou, except for Changxi, had already fallen into the hands of their general Bocai. However, after that, I felt a bit confused. This person doesn't dress like an official or soldier, nor does he wear a yellow scarf on his head, similar to a rural villager, but with a weapon in his hand. Looking around, there was only one person who was not worried. The sergeant walked out of the bushes and asked, "Who are you? Why are you here? Are you a commoner or a soldier?" Other soldiers quickly surrounded and guarded with knives. However, the person suddenly stopped moving and stared blankly at them in place. Seeing him not answering, Shi Chang roared, "Are you a soldier or a commoner?" If you don't answer, leave your life here. The person was still in a daze. After a few seconds, he slowly spoke up and said, "First-level soldier. Do you still need to ask questions? How can we skip this plot? It's a waste of time. Come on. Let's go to war. Let me test if my sword is sharp." Chapter 2. Abnormal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, the soldier's head bears the words LV1 and a health bar. The leading general bears the words LV2 on his head, with a longer health bar. First-level soldier. The main focus of this game is realism. The appearance of the soldiers is not a uniform modeling face. Apart from wearing a yellow cloth strip on their head to indicate their faction, they have various appearances, including two who are quite handsome. This means that female characters are also diverse. I think too far. You should give it a try now, because these little soldiers are here to send experience. It's an old trick. No matter what game it is, there are minions who come up to provide experience and practice their skills. However, there was no prompt for forward and backward attacks, probably due to holographic simulation. The plot cannot be skipped. The big knife in Qin Hao's hand was already starving and thirsty. Seeing him draw his sword, the soldiers with yellow headscarves also quickly drew their swords. Speak up. Who the hell are you? Are you sent by the court to rescue the soldiers? Nonsense. Qin Hao's attack. Even the first-level soldiers cannot be defeated, and there is no fear of others laughing when it comes to rumors. Moreover, Qin Hao has also played a similar holographic immersive virtual game, although it is not as realistic as this game, but he has also learned a lot of experience and skills. Moreover, at the beginning of the game, without much experience and equipment, he died immediately. At best, he could resurrect. I have already adapted to it just now, and I have become quite proficient in various movements. It's time to chop now. Kill, kill, kill. Rush over and slash towards the nearest soldier. The soldier was on guard with a horizontal knife, but could not withstand Qin Hao's strength at all. The knife in his hand was shaken and then he was struck from the head to the abdomen with a single blow. Blood sprayed out and splattered Qin Hao's face. Digging a groove. Is this done? Qin Hao licked the blood splattered on his face. It smells bloody and sticky, amazing. And the soldier's health bar instantly emptied. Die with just one blow. Is this playing 999 or is it because I am too strong? He still wanted to know how to strike and defend, but he died and almost split the soldier in half. Unfortunately, I only gained 10 points due to my lack of experience. But it's already enough. Upgrading from level 1 to level 2 only requires 100 points of experience. There are 10 people here, which is completely enough to advance to level 2. Not only that, after chopping someone, I vaguely felt that my strength had increased and my mental state had improved. Anger value. I didn't have time to click on the control panel, but I also understand that my anger has increased. The soldiers around were all shocked and immediately fought back. A soldier swung a knife and struck, causing Qin Hao to quickly react and dodge, but he was also scratched on his back. It hurts. Qin Hao was completely stunned. The soldier's sense of impact was real, and the feeling of being hit was also real. Blood seeped out, and his back gradually became sticky. Fortunately, my defense is high and my health is high. This knife is like a small knife hitting my finger. But he couldn't help but be on guard. When he got kicked in the butt and couldn't die, he would feel worse off than dead. Having suffered a great loss, he dodged and took precautions. The soldiers couldn't help but feel a bit intimidated when they saw that he could still fight after being stabbed. Shi Chang also retreated a few times, but shouted to the soldiers, "Up! He's alone. What are you afraid of? Revenge the dead brothers." Yes. Everyone immediately rushed forward, and Qin Hao was a bit confused again. Why would the soldiers still be beating around? This game is not simple. I thought it was a simple mode just now, but the enemy will surround me. So the difficulty is here. That is to say, I thought it was a soul type, but I didn't expect it to be a combination of strategy and action types. But he didn't have to be afraid. He had a healing potion on his body that could resurrect after death. In addition, the values of these soldiers were very low, and his own values were very high. So what about 10 people? 100 people will do. It's just that using potions at the beginning is a bit wasteful, and it takes time to think of strategies to defeat 100 people. After death, one may enter weak loading or lose equipment. Time waits for no one. He must advance to advanced level before the public restroom, and other players on the inside may also advance quickly. Furthermore, being hit really hurts, and if you don't die completely, you may even be stabbed with a gun. It's scary to think about it. So you can use techniques without using them: dodge, attack, pull people, engage in melee combat. He has also played other similar games and knows a lot of techniques and gameplay. He uses all his skills, dividing 3 by 5, and throwing knives and letting the blood splatter on his face. Great. These soldiers had no armor, their bodies were quite thin and weak, as if they had nothing to eat, and their combat effectiveness was very poor. To Qin Hao's surprise, the soldiers also had their own emotional system. After killing 3 in a row, everyone else was scared. Go up. You go up. You go up first. It's okay to be chopped down, isn't this person made of iron? It's too fierce, he can knock people over with just one blow. Shi Chang was greatly surprised by the situation and felt a chill in his heart. This person not only had flesh and blood like iron, but could still fight even after being hit, and he also had excellent martial arts skills. He was probably a Han army general. There are many people with yellow scarves, but few Han soldiers. But after a long period of training, the Han army has rich physical fitness and combat skills experience, often hitting more than one, especially the Han generals, who can cause a ratio of 1 to dozens of kills. They are probably no match for each other. Withdraw. Shi Chang shouted and jumped onto his horse's back. Don't fight him, I'll go call someone. Other soldiers also want to run. Qin Hao didn't give them a chance and took out his bow and arrow, shooting towards the front. With close range and the blessing of shooting skills, Qin Hao has a basic shooting skill in his mind and a basic reaction in his body that he has practiced. Shoo, shoo, shoo. A few arrows flew out, and Captain Wu fell off his horse in response. Several soldiers were also injured. Run over and swung the big knife fiercely. With a splash, the head landed. The gap on the soldier's neck sprayed out long blood like a spray gun. Looking down, there are bones on the neck and bone marrow inside, which is incredibly realistic. Adding chicken legs to GM is really thoughtful. This game is worth playing. I'm glad to see you, Qin Hao. Go ahead and kill me again. In an instant. 9 heads. 90 points of experience. But mosquito meat is also meat. Qin Hao was about to be promoted to level 2 by 10, but he rubbed his hands and rushed straight to the front of the commander. Arrows fell from the horse, and Captain Wu struggled to crawl on the ground. Qin Hao did not kill him on the spot. He went to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com because he only realized it when he reached this point. From beginning to end, he did not see any tasks. Shouldn't all these online games have tasks? This LV.2 should be an NPC, come and interrogate it thoroughly. Grasping the horse and pulling it over, Shi Chang trembled with fear and knelt down to beg for mercy, saying, "General, spare your life. General, spare your life. I'll give you everything you want. I'm just from a farmer's background, I just want to survive." Upon hearing these words, Qin Hao was bewildered again. He didn't play cards according to common sense. Shouldn't this kid be anything like killing or cutting at will? Even NPCs can beg for mercy. The AI's independent intelligence is a bit strong, which makes Qin Hao unable to handle it. In the past, NPCs used to give missions. When encountering a small monster general and killing him, the system would also prompt, or other NPCs would say something like, "Warrior, thank you, my name is. It's really my luck to meet you." But this is nothing, either the inner system is incomplete, or it's just a fully realistic simulation. He held his knife forward, with blood dripping from the edge and blood stains all over his body, and walked straight towards the sergeant. Then, an incredible scene appeared again. Why did this guy wet his pants? Yes. NPC can actually wet their pants. Qin Hao went crazy and immediately ripped off his pants. And then. He was shocked, this NPC actually has guts. Shi Chang was also shocked and numb all over. Immediately after, Qin Hao pulled open the pants of the other corpses, with a surprised expression hanging on his face. Shi Chang looked at everything in front of him in a daze, feeling like lightning struck in his heart. He almost fainted. After Qin Hao opened the pants of other soldiers one by one, he trembled and said, "What are you doing, pervert? I didn't expect the Han army to be so perverted." Chapter 3. The Yellow Turban Rebellion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, although this person's accent is a bit strange, it can still be understood. Qin Hao's mind came up with multiple dialects, probably as a gift from the system. This game is too intelligent, and GM is afraid they won't understand it. But none of these are important, perverts or anything else are not important, what's important is the word Han Army. The name of this game is Empire Civilization Battle, and it is unclear what dynasty it is. Many players online speculate that both the Qin, Han, Tang, Song, and Ming dynasties may have combined famous empires from around the world. Both the NPC and the system have no tasks, and he believes that this game should be a game that requires self-exploration. However, the NPC is so afraid of himself that he urinated in a big bubble and forced him to ask, "What Han army? North Han, South Han, Move Han, West Han?" Continuously asking questions, Shi Chang was both puzzled and surprised. If this person didn't know the Han army, then he wouldn't be the Han army. No wonder there wouldn't be such a perverted Han army, but now it's important to save our lives and keep saying, Eastern Han. At the end of the Eastern Han dynasty, were the three kingdoms divided? Was the war raging incessantly? Cao Cao, without hesitation, was determined to take Jingzhou and touch it openly or secretly. Wu Chang. Why did you still sing? What is Cao Cao? Why did he take Jingzhou? This person doesn't understand anything, Qin Hao said again, when is this the Eastern Han dynasty? Where is this place? Who are you? Shi Chang was puzzled again. This person doesn't understand anything. It seems that not only is he abnormal, but he is also a fool. But the knife is right at his neck, and even if he is foolish, he needs to explain. In the 7th year of Guanghe and the year of Jiazi, we are the Yellow Turban Army. This is Yuzhou, northwest of Changxi. The Yellow Turban Rebellion in the late Eastern Han Dynasty. Qin Hao is not illiterate. He scored 250 points in the college entrance examination back then, including 50 points in history, so he still has some foundation. No wonder this person has a yellow cloth tied to their head, it turns out to be the Yellow Turban Army. No wonder killing one person only requires 10 points of experience. These soldiers have poor combat effectiveness and are all as thin as monkeys. Only these troublemakers want to rebel, unless Zhang Jiao can really call the wind and rain to zero and the right to fire. Yes. Yellow scarf. Wu Chang said, yellow scarf. The sky is dead, the yellow scarf should be erected. At the age of Jia Zi, the world is in good luck. Big you damn lucky. Qin Hao was extremely disgusted because this group of people was quickly extinguished. Heroes such as Cao Cao, Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei started their careers at this time. Of course, if possible, Qin Hao even wanted to chop down the Han army. But since it was the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty when the three kingdoms were divided, the level of influential figures must be very high. Now let's first accumulate experience by wearing yellow scarves, and then it's not too late to attack the Han army. Speak up. Qin Hao pressed the blade onto the neck of the sergeant, oozing a blood slit that could be easily wiped away with just a gentle stroke like killing a chicken. Where is your army? This. Shi Chang did not answer. If news of other soldiers were exposed, the Han army would break through and he would not be able to survive. However, Qin Hao added more weight and said, "If you tell me, I'll let you go." Shi Chang still shook his head, while the other soldiers were still fighting. They were all brothers who survived by drinking talismans together. He still spoke of loyalty, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to hold the position of sergeant. Seeing him not speaking, Qin Hao turned around and said, "Actually, I am Huang Zhan, a general sent by Zhang Jiao." "No." Wu Chang said, "I've never seen you before, and you didn't understand who we were just now." "Ah." Helpless, Qin Hao sighed. Their artificial intelligence was also too high, they had brains, and there was no way out. He pondered for a moment and could only come up with a solution. If he didn't answer, he would kill them and go find them himself. Looking at Qin Hao's bewildered expression, Shi Chang calculated in his heart that he was only one person. If he were to lead him to surround and kill in the military formation, he would not be too late to take advantage of the chaos and escape. So he said, "No. General. I remember, General Bocai once said, we have reinforcements coming. Could it be that General doesn't want reinforcements? This person's attitude changes as he goes, and he has realized that the NPC in this game has high independent intelligence, which may be a trap." Qin Hao couldn't help but suspect, but it doesn't matter. As long as he can take himself over, he can know the enemy's position even if he dies, and it will be much easier to resurrect. "Okay. You lead the way." Standing up from the horse, Qin Hao pulled out the sharp arrow inserted into the body, and then let the commander lead the way ahead. "We must kill it thoroughly. Explore the scenery along the way. The environment simulation is truly realistic, and no game rendering can achieve this level. The tree shadows are swaying, the wild grass is lush, and you can vaguely see fireflies and flying birds." Looking at the scenery without being idle, Qin Hao opened the system. Apart from attributes and weapons, equipment, and props, there is another thing that stands out. System Mall. Open it up and see, there's a unique hole in the sky. The mall is divided into 9 levels, and currently only one level of mall can be opened. Upgrading requires coins, and levels 1 to 2 require 10,000 yuan. Crazy. Game companies specialize in using this kind of thing to collect wool. Fortunately, the products in the mall only need to be paid with coins, not recharged, which is much more humane. There are various items in the first level mall. Weapons. Park knife, bow and arrow materials. Porridge, pickles, beef, pork, horse meat medications. Stamina recovery potion, primary strength enhancement potion. These are basic commodities that can solve temporary difficulties. Now there is only 100 yuan, and Chen Hao is not in a hurry to spend it. He has weapons in his hands and a horse under his crotch. He can buy medicine or supplies from the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com in case of emergency. When searching for the body, these yellow scarf pockets were empty. It seems that in this game, both experience and money are necessary to play. Qin Hao also inquired about the current situation with Shi Chang. It was learned that Huanfu Song and Zhu Ju, sent by the Han Dynasty, had been surrounded by their large army in Changxi City. And he was one of the commanders of a team of people sent to intercept the Northwest Han Army, with 10 people, and was ordered to lead troops out to survey. Huang Zhan dispatched several groups of troops to the northwest, west, and southwest. He was a soldier heading southwest and happened to collide with Qin Hao. At this moment, he was heading northwest. 20 minutes later, he brought Qin Hao to a camp. Shi Chang led Qin Hao to the nearest camp, thinking that although Qin Hao was brave, he could not kill dozens of people alone. Unexpectedly, there was a flicker of fire ahead, and the sound of swords and swords intertwined could be heard. Anything can happen on the battlefield. Shi Chang was surprised. He had originally planned to join forces with other soldiers to surround Qin Hao, but now he had to take advantage of the chaos and escape. He pointed to the front and said, "General, our army is in front of us. We should be at war with the Han army at this moment." "Okay." Qin Hao was overjoyed, as if a hungry wolf had seen the meat. "Come up with me to help fight." Coincidentally encountering a war, he can take advantage of the chaos and loot a wave. Shi Chang immediately led him up, but unexpectedly, just as he turned around, Z cut it down with one knife. The head fell to the ground, leaving a surprised look on Shi Chang's face. "Since you have completed the task, you should be damned. What's the use of keeping you? Maybe you'll even mess with me behind the scenes." Qin Hao calmly dismounted and put Shi Chang's yellow scarf on his head, then rode towards the battlefield. Chapter 4, Whose general is this? Surprisingly so brave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, 50 miles west of Changxi City. Cao Cao, the cavalry captain sent by the court to support Huangfu Song, was ambushed by the Yellow Turban army and fell into a bitter battle. Xiahou Dun Loma, who was fighting, rushed to Cao Cao's side and said, "Captain, although the Yellow Turban army here is not strong in combat, there are many people and it cannot be fought for a long time. We will cover up and you can withdraw as soon as possible. Once the Yellow Turban army is dispersed, General Huangfu will send troops to take over." "No way." Cao Cao said sternly, "General Huangfu has been besieged in Changxi and needs support. We cannot neglect it, we must kill him as soon as possible." Xiahou Dun anxiously said, "But the Yellow Turban army is like an ant colony, constantly appearing. They have too many people." Cao Cao firmly said, "Husband's war. Courage. We'll kill them and defeat the enemy." "Yes." After receiving the order, Xiahou Dun turned around and shouldered Changshua to charge into the enemy's formation. However, there were many soldiers with yellow scarves, at least 4,000 people. Cao Cao and he only led 500 people to charge, and the large army was still behind. Being outnumbered, but Cao Cao gave a death order, and Xiahou Dun must charge. But they underestimated the strength of the Yellow Turban army. These farmers wearing yellow scarves had no armor or sharp blades, but they were not afraid of death and carried out suicide attacks on them. With a bang, Cao Cao's horse was shot and he fell off the horse. Xiahou Dun immediately led his troops back to rescue, but fortunately Cao Cao himself was able to fight and led his subordinates to kill him. Yuan rang. Retreat. Faced with the magnificent enemy forces, Cao Cao had to retreat. He had planned to meet Huang Fusheng with Sui Zhonglang in advance, but now he can only give up. However, just as they were about to return, the Yellow Turban army, which wanted to pursue them, turned around. Looking from afar, I saw a person rushing towards me from behind the yellow scarf. Behind the Yellow Turban army. One person rushed over. Riding a horse, cutting from left to right, very domineering. What puzzled them was that this person was actually wearing a yellow scarf. Reverse Tiangang. Huang Zhan, do you own your own people? Those Yellow Turban soldiers were also confused. They saw that their own people were completely defenseless, but they didn't expect that person to raise their hand and kill them. In the blink of an eye, countless deaths and injuries occurred, and countless people had to return to defend and support. Cao Cao fixed his gaze and was extremely shocked. Whose general is this? How could he be so brave? Xiahou Dun was also very surprised. His eyes looked up and he saw that the person had beaten the Yellow Turban army in disarray. That person, although fighting alone, is not afraid at all, as if entering a deserted land. Cao Cao immediately grabbed the fighter jet and said, "Yuan Rang. Bring someone to charge over. I want to see who that person is." Yes. Cao Cao's vanguard troops were not many, only 500 people, and they were also ambushed. Originally, morale was low and they had to retreat, but the battlefield situation changed, and the person was killed directly, causing a sharp turn in the situation. With his restraint, his confidence returned and he immediately led someone to rush over. 500 Han soldiers killed a rifle and the Yellow Turban army was sandwiched back and forth. Huang Jin mostly comes from a peasant background and lacks combat experience. Their formation was dispersed, making it difficult to regroup after the death of their generals. Moreover, their weapons are not very sophisticated, with only a few hundred people able to wield knives, guns, swords, and halberds. The others either carry hoes, sickles, and rakes, or use sharpened wooden sticks to chop wood as soldiers. They mostly relied on their numbers to win, and the Han army had a ratio of 3-1 to their individual abilities, with some generals even reaching a ratio of 10-1. At this moment, the rear was attacked and the front was fiercely attacked by the Han army. They were not in formation and were quickly dispersed. In the Yellow Turban army, Qin Hao's killing was so exhilarating. Riding horses and chopping. No. It's horseback riding in collision. Ma Shua, with his right hand, stabbed whoever he saw and sprinted at high speed on his horse. These soldiers have all been strung together. Hold a knife in your left hand and strike anyone who dares to approach. The night was dark and the wind was high, and the enemy's bows and arrows were not sharp, shooting at an angle. In addition, riding a horse with fast movement speed, almost no arrows fell on oneself. Qin Hao doesn't care about so much, he just starts by chopping. After all, he can resurrect after death. Now that his level is low, he is not afraid of any equipment loss or weak state that may add debuffs in games. If it's a big deal, start from scratch, enjoy it first, and then slowly explore later. Of course, try not to die if possible. After all, this is not a single-player game, and the battlefield situation may change. The most important thing is actually that I am afraid of others snatching people's heads. There are over 1,000 players on the inside, and if they upgrade first, I will fall behind. But what he didn't expect was that these little soldiers would still be afraid. The more you kill yourself, the stronger you charge, and others will fear and retreat. They dared not fight back as long as they were afraid, and were directly stabbed to death. Some of them panicked and retreated, being trampled to death. Experience is like snowflakes drifting and drifting. 10 people, 20 people, 30 people experience plus 10, plus 10, plus 10 quickly, he rose to level 3, or even level 4. The higher the level, the more ability points can be added. The stronger the ability, the less likely these soldiers are to be opponents. Add 10 points of strength and 10 points of defense. Continue to improve your equestrian skills and marksmanship, and take advantage of the crowds here to gain more experience by using horses and long spears. Kill, kill, kill. Suddenly, many people appeared ahead, as if they were enemies of this group of soldiers. Looking around, I saw a general covered in armor, with a burly figure and a large sword, leading his troops to charge forward. That person has the words LV.15 on their head. NPC. Looking at his soldiers again, they are all LV.2 and above, and even LV.3 and LV.4, but their numbers are relatively small. There are many small soldiers wearing yellow scarves. After those people rushed over, the little soldiers couldn't stand by anymore. Qin Hao took advantage of the situation and rushed over again, jumping into the enemy's formation and constantly charging, with blood flowing into the river. Soon, he completed his first feat of entering the game. Kill 100 people. The system sounds a prompt sound, and after obtaining the first achievement, you can receive additional experience and attribute bonuses. LV5. Received 10 enhancement points and 10 skill points. Due to the blessing of achievements, the ability is multiplied by 2. 10 points are decisively added to strength, and another 10 points are added to stamina. Chopping people can also be tiring. He now faintly feels the vibration of his tiger's mouth and the soreness and fatigue of his arms. But after strengthening, the tiredness suddenly dissipated, the energy returned, and one could fight 100 rounds again. In terms of skills, he continued to illuminate marksmanship and horsemanship, while also lighting up marksmanship. Watching those deserters flee into the mountains and forests, it's a pity for Chen Hao. It's all about experience, so it's gone. Anyway, he chops people, more is better. Taking advantage of the current low level and easy upgrade, you can chop as much as you can. After strengthening various abilities, he continued to engage in bloody battles. Ma Shua rushed out, and a soldier flew out and hit the other soldiers heavily. With a horizontal knife, some soldiers had poor strength and their arms and knives were cut off. The soldiers tried to hook Chen Hao's horse leg off with a sickle, but his riding skills were amazing. He restrained his horse and lifted his leg, waving his long spear in a whirlwind-like sweep. 5 kills. On the other side, Xiahou Dun, who led his troops back to charge, was startled. That person has excellent martial arts skills, amazing equestrian skills, and a river of blood flowing down his horse. He has the courage to fight against 100 enemies. Look at that outfit, it doesn't look like a soldier. Without the clothing of the Han army or yellow scarves, it was more like a martyr suddenly killed. He couldn't distinguish clearly, but understood that this person was against the Yellow Turban army, and the enemy was his own people. He immediately rushed over with great speed. Amazing! He widened his eyes and rushed over shouting, "Don't panic, martyr. I'll help you." Chen Hao. Am I panicking? He felt a bit confused and casually chopped down several soldiers. However, this general led his troops to charge over, and the surrounding soldiers scattered. Moreover, they had just killed too fiercely, and some of them had already retreated. Gradually, the soldiers all ran back. His mother. It's all experience. Chen Hao couldn't bear them to escape and ignored the NPC rushing towards him. He rode his horse and killed anyone he could, while those who ran far shot arrows back. But unfortunately, there were too many people, and the retreat was also running in all directions. He couldn't kill everyone alone, so he had to dismount and watch with regret as the heads of the people escaped. Seeing this scene, Xiahou Dun was stunned. Is this person crazy about killing? It's too fierce. He looked helplessly from afar, and soon Cao Cao also came to his side. The scene just now was imprinted in Cao Cao's mind, and he was also surprised, saying, "This person is so brave. Come with me and see whose general he is." The two of them led their troops to Chen Hao's side and dismounted, bowing and bowing. Chen Hao was still immersed in the regret of the head running away, and when he turned around, he was startled. The general just now actually brought someone over. Digging grooves. After looking at the level on their heads, they are all LV1 or above. The general's level is not low anymore, but the person next to him has a higher level. LV.20, Zhaoshuyuan.com. It doesn't look like it, this person doesn't even look like the person next to him who can fight. TSK. Generally speaking, the higher the level, the more experience points there are. However, a high level may not necessarily be enough to pass, and there are many of them. Of course, he can also take action, but it's just a resurrection. If he can really defeat it, he will soar to the sky. But he doesn't want to waste time doing things like researching strategies and advanced technology. Moreover, these two NPCs are very respectful and don't seem to be about to take action. They are likely NPCs from the novice village and may even give tasks. Hello. Qin Hao said hello and wanted to try out the independent AI intelligence level of advanced NPCs. The NPC of LV.20 was stunned, but still respectfully asked, "May I ask what the general is called and whose subordinate he is? How to address it? Who's general?" Qin Hao shook his head and asked in reverse, "I also want to ask where you are from." As soon as these words were spoken, both NPCs were puzzled. "Take a look at me and I will take a look at you," looking at Qin Hao like a fool. Then the NPC of LV.20 said to himself, "I am Cao Cao, the Imperial Cavalry Captain. This is west of Changxi City. Imperial Cavalry Captain. Cao Cao. No wonder his level is 20, Cao Cao's level is indeed higher. But he likes it, the continuous flames of the three kingdoms can make him repeatedly charge. I had good luck seeing NPCs like Cao Cao from the beginning. If it were in the wilderness, no one could chop it down, it would take monkey years and horse months to upgrade. My name is Qin Hao, a southerner, not anyone's general." After speaking, Qin Hao said to Cao Cao, "What tasks do you have for me and what are the rewards? I'm in a hurry." Chapter 5. No tasks. Then pull it down. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Qin Hao. Southerners. Who's not their general? Upon hearing this, Cao Cao was overjoyed and greatly appreciated Qin Hao. He cherishes talents and also wants to recruit talents from all over the world for his own use. Such a fierce general, without any generals, means he should be a righteous warrior who came out to help the court fight against the Yellow Turban. If you can recruit yourself, it will definitely enhance your strength. Moreover, he took the initiative to ask for a task. Brave and proactive, truly a rare talent. Xiahou Dun also admired Qin Hao's words, he was the most important hero in his life. When he was young, he killed someone who was insulted. He values chivalry and righteousness. The person in front of him was selfless and helpful. He had just finished a big battle and wanted to fight immediately. His bravery was unparalleled, and he admired him even more. He suggested to Cao Cao, "This person is brave and brave. We can take him to meet General Huangfu." Good. Cao Cao also recognized it. Although Qin Hao did not serve in the court, he could still be called a general with his bravery just now. If the general is willing to go with us, our army will definitely gain wings like a tiger. Qin Hao is a bit confused. The NPC independence awareness of this game is a bit strong. I will also discuss and praise others. Unlike other NPCs who only speak some cutscenes. But he felt a bit annoyed. If it was necessary for the plot, try to skip it as much as possible. Lead the mission, charge, upgrade quickly, this is the main mission. Unexpectedly, Cao Cao asked, "General, are you willing to go with us to see General Huangfu? Let's discuss together how to resist the Yellow Turban army." Still need to discuss. Qin Hao is impatient. What are we discussing? Do you have any experience? Wasting time. The most important thing now is to cut off people. If it weren't for their high level, Qin Hao would have taken action long ago, and now he is already thinking about how to stab him in the back. Thinking of this, he decisively refused, "I won't go. Wherever there are many people, I will go. Don't waste my time. If you don't have a combat mission, don't bother me." If it were someone else, Qin Hao would have been executed long ago if he spoke inappropriately. Cao Cao was the Xiaoqi captain of the court, and he himself was a supporting general. However, the Qin Hao in front of him did not respect them. No big or small, it's not in line with etiquette. But Cao Cao and Xiahou Dun were not rigid people, let alone Qin Hao, who also had a life-saving sentiment towards them, so he didn't want to think too much. Cao Cao had no choice. He was in a difficult situation and thought to let Chen Hao join his account, but Chen Hao was unwilling and he had no choice. Chen Hao turned his head and left, pleading, "General. Please think twice. Don't consider it." After a sentence, Chen Hao rode his horse and left. Looking at his back, Cao Cao sighed with regret and said, "Such a hero, it would be great if he could join us." Captain. Xiahou Dun couldn't help but feel regretful, saying, "This person is brave and skilled in battle. He is full of courage and is a general. According to what he just said, going here may be to find another fighter jet. There are many soldiers with yellow scarves here, and there may be unforeseen circumstances." Upon hearing this, Cao Cao also felt anxious and said, "Such a tiger general, if he died young, it would be truly unbearable." Xiahou Dun said, "I'll send 200 people to follow, just in case something unexpected happens." "No." Cao Cao said, "You personally lead the troops forward." "What about you?" Xiahou Dun worried, "There are still 50 miles left to go to Changxi, and you will definitely be ambushed by the Yellow Turban army on the way." Cao Cao said, "Don't be afraid. The Yellow Turban army has been killed and retreated, and it is impossible to regroup. I will advance slowly and engage in a fierce battle, step by step, and have General Huangfu send people to support me." After speaking, Cao Cao placed his hand on Xiahou Dun's shoulder and said, "Yuan Rang. Such a fierce general must be summoned to my command, treated with respect and righteousness. If there are any demands, please agree first. Also, remember not to fight to the death when encountering enemies. Obey me." Xiahou Dun immediately ordered troops and mobilized 100 veteran soldiers to rush in the direction of Chen Hao. Leaving Cao Cao, Chen Hao rode his horse and shook his body, feeling every inch of the skin on the back of the horse. It's too real. Riding a horse gives a feeling. It's just. It hurts a bit. We need to protect it well, otherwise even if we are strong in the future, we can only become the Wheel King. If we are crushed, it feels like life is better than death. Because during the fierce battle just now, the blood gradually decreased and the pain became more pronounced. He has made up his mind to focus on defense in the next upgrade, and each time he needs to allocate a few points to add to his defense attributes. Previously, I added all my points to my stamina, but now I'm not too tired. I'm decisively looking for a fighter jet. After searching for dozens of minutes, the wilderness was deserted, with only corpses emitting a foul odor on the ground, and crows, insects, and beasts all came to eat. Sitting on the ground to rest, suddenly, a torch shone behind me. Someone. He immediately stood up and slashed towards him, but suddenly heard a familiar voice. "General. It's Xiahou Dun. He is still carrying troops and horses behind him. Looking around, there are over 100 people. Why did you come?" Chen Hao withdrew his sword. In fact, he also wanted to kill Xiahou Dun, but his level was not enough. There were so many people behind him, so it wouldn't be good to be counterattacked. "General. The captain asked me to help you," Xiahou Dun said. "I didn't introduce myself just now. I'm Xiahou Dun, with the character Yuan Rang. You can also call me Yuan Rang." Xiahou Dun. Chen Hao carefully examined and knew that there was this person in the Three Kingdoms, but he couldn't distinguish between Xiahou Dun and Xiahou Yuan. He didn't know if Xiahou Dun or Xiahou Yuan was the one with one eye. Looking at people, their eyes are still good, they shouldn't be the one who pokes their eyes. Xiahou Dun complimented, "General. The captain has said that he particularly hopes you can join us. If we pacify the Yellow Turban, we will immediately report it to the court and promote you to higher ranks. Have money. Tell me earlier. Orcs will never be enslaved unless they are wrapped up in food. Do you have money to take it?" Chen Hao looked at him eagerly. Of course there is. If one were to be appointed as an official, they would receive a salary. If one were to seize the flag, climb first, or execute the general, perhaps one could also obtain a fiefdom. Xiahou Dun bowed and said. Ah! These are all external possessions. Qin Hao waved his hand and said, it is our duty to pacify the yellow scarf. As outstanding young people of the Han Dynasty, we must adhere to the leadership of the court. Well said. Xiahou Dun said, the general is a tiger general. Go to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, be brave and fighting, don't worry about military achievements. Then why don't you leave quickly? Qin Hao sneered, hurry up. Get promoted. Also, let me kill more people. Damn it, the NPC won't reward you, and you'll have to be promoted by the court to earn money. This game has some ink stains. What's the West? Games. Xiahou Dun scratched his head in confusion. It's nothing. Just don't break your promise. No, no, no. Captain, I promise you everything. I will definitely do it. The Yellow Turban Army. In the main account, Bocai is in high spirits. Huangfu Song would never have thought that we would set up ambushes around Changxi to intercept all the Han troops who came to support us. The first battle was won, and they defeated the Han Dynasty's right Zhonglang General Zhu Ju and surrounded him in the city of Changxi. This is the army sent by the court, which was directly defeated by them, and the morale of all the soldiers in the Yellow Turban Army was high. Bocai is not a yellow-scarfed rascal. He knows the art of war, can fight, has strategic skills, and more importantly, has courage. The Han Dynasty's elite Zhu Ju and Huangfu Song's imperial guards were tough on the front, and they even defeated the encirclement, which can be said to be weak. At present, the Yellow Turban Army is several times stronger than the Han Army, and unless there is a natural disaster, the Yellow Turban Army will not lose. And he was very calm. Although he had a great victory in the first battle, he was not arrogant. Instead, he said to the soldiers, if the Han Army is surrounded, there will be reinforcements to support it. I have sent troops to intercept in the northwest and northeast. All the soldiers admire it. If we can break through Changxi, we can reach Luoyang and overthrow the Han Dynasty. It's just around the corner. However, just as they were preparing to celebrate in groups, a soldier suddenly ran in to report. Not good. General. The people we sent to the northwest to block the Han Army have all been killed and retreated. Chapter 6. Bocai's troops increase in the northwest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. When the military situation came, Bocai was furious and stood up slapping the table. I sent 6,000 people to intercept in the northwest. If it weren't for the Han Army, there would also be 1,000 people. Bocai, the general of the Yellow Turban Army's Yuzhou uprising, was born as a brave villager and later stationed in the northwest of Yuzhou. In his early years, he traveled to Luoyang and learned about its guards. Although the current court has set up camps around Luoyang, appointed He Jin as the Grand General, and arranged for various generals to guard Luoyang, there are only 3,000 to 4,000 people. It is impossible for the court to send thousands of troops, at most 1,500 people, and only a few hundred veteran soldiers, with the rest being newly recruited on a temporary basis. Although the officers and soldiers have sufficient training, rich combat experience, excellent weapons, and brave and skilled generals, they are still unable to break through the 10,000-strong formation of the Yellow Turban Army. So Bocai was shocked, and the entire battalion's generals were also shocked. To their surprise, the soldier said, "We are blocking the Han Army in the northwest and have already repelled them." However, for some reason, a brave general emerged from behind and killed hundreds of our soldiers. The soldiers were immediately in chaos and did not form in formation. The Han Army turned back, and our army could not stand by and was scattered. A brave general killed through 1,000 soldiers. Bocai and other generals Jin looked at the soldiers incredulously. The soldier said, "That person has excellent martial arts skills and is very brave. He is not afraid of death and is charging straight towards our army." Waste. Bocai roared angrily, but felt helpless. The Yellow Turban army is all from a peasant background, and he himself is just a rural hero. All the soldiers in the army, except for his own battalion, lacked combat experience. People are all made of meat, and they are afraid, especially without training. They cannot continue to gather and face the enemy when their formation is chaotic. And the situation has already happened, it cannot be changed, it can only be salvaged. He looked at the map and pointed out a place in the northwest north of Changxi City. We cannot allow the reinforcements of the Han army to arrive. Now that we are besieging Changxi and the Han army's troops are insufficient, if we let the reinforcements come with supplies, we will definitely become deadlocked. Add 4 battalions of troops and horses, regroup and rush to intercept the Han army. The Han army are all cowardly turtles. Send a few teams to resist first, let the Han army retreat, make them think we can't fight, and lead them out, otherwise they won't be able to fight after retreating. After the ambush, they immediately surrounded and the cavalry quickly blocked their rear, annihilating them all. Speed must be fast. You must arrive outside the pass before the Han army. Yes. The soldiers in the camp were ordered to gather a large army and immediately rush to the northwest. Wuyang is vast, and the number of soldiers with yellow scarves is several times higher than that of the Han army. They are vigorously advancing to the northwest entrance. Within Changxi City. Left Zhonglang General Huangfu Song and Right Zhonglang General Zhu Gui discussed countermeasures. Zhu Yan said anxiously, "The Bocai army has surrounded us tightly and almost impeccable. The court ordered us to quickly break through the enemy, but we are unable to protect ourselves." Lu Ji, who attacked Zhangjiao in the north, was impeached in court for not sending troops in time and was afraid of being detained in Luoyang. Now that they have lost their first battle, they are afraid of repeating the same mistake. Compared to Zhu Jian, Huangfu Song was more calm and said calmly, "Sun Jian and Cao Cao have already come. Sun Jian will be later, and Cao Cao will be earlier. When they come, we will have the opportunity to counterattack." "Sigh, I'm afraid that's all I can do," Zhu Yan sighed as he sat on the chair. However, the scout outside the city hurriedly reported, "General, the Yellow Turban army is increasing its troops to the northwest." The battlefield situation suddenly changed, and neither Huangfu Song nor Zhu Qian expected the Yellow Turban army to be so successful. At the beginning of the attack on Huangjin, the right middle general Zhu Ju thought that the enemy was a rural villager, but he didn't expect to be defeated at the beginning. When left Zhonglang General Huangfu Song came to reinforce, he also believed that the Yellow Turban army was brave and cunning, with a crowd of ants. However, he did not expect to be surrounded by the city of Changxi. Now the enemy even anticipated that the court would send troops to assist, and they were all shocked. Zhu Zhudao said, "General, should we send troops to rescue? The city is short of food and supplies, and the soldiers are even more afraid of our enemies. If the troops sent to welcome Cao Cao are surrounded and annihilated, everyone in the city will be in danger." Huangfu Song also began to worry. He didn't answer immediately and paced back and forth, his gaze fixed on the map. The scout who came to report has been kneeling on the ground waiting for orders. Half a moment later, Zhu Yan spoke up and said, "General, we must send troops to reinforce and assist Cao Cao in setting up a fortress outside the city, waiting for the opportunity to move." Huangfu Song pondered for a long time, perhaps he could only do so. The yellow scarf is several times stronger than the Han army. If Cao Cao's reinforcements are besieged and annihilated, the Han army will lose its living strength and cannot continue to fight. Leaving the Green Mountains is not afraid of having no firewood to burn. When necessary, he would rather take the blame and return to the court than give up leading troops to return to Sisui Pass. Huangfu Song said, "Send 200 people out of the city at night. We will attack and kill them in the East City. We will defend them from the east and west, and we must help Cao Cao settle outside the city. Yes. After speaking, he ordered the other generals and leaders to say, the same goes for the soldiers and horses sent to pick up Sun Jian. Let someone send a message to Sun Jian and ask him to camp outside the city as well. By the way, let the soldiers inside the city know that the imperial reinforcements have arrived. Don't panic, break through the yellow scarf, it's just around the corner. Yes. After arranging, Huan Fu Song sighed secretly. He is a general and must remain calm, even if the situation is critical. However, he himself had no idea how to break through Huang Jin. Will they really be killed and retreated by Huang Jin? Time is also destiny, we can only pray for the help of heaven for the great man. To the northwest of Changxi. Qin Hao and Xiahou Dun went back together to meet Cao Cao. Along the way, Xiahou Dun kept scrutinizing Qin Hao. With a majestic demeanor and a sword-like appearance. Shouldn't all Southerners be gentle and not good at fighting? How could they give birth to such heroes? One person rushed to kill the yellow scarf. He was impressed by his bravery. When he was still a country boy, he drew his sword to seek revenge for his teacher's insult. He thought he was brave enough, but he didn't expect someone even stronger than him. In contrast, he felt like Qin Wuyang from Records of the Grand Historian, who killed people when he was young and couldn't resist seeing the Qin Emperor. Of course, it is understandable. This is his first time fighting against Cao Cao, and he lacks experience. If he dares to deal with the enemy, it is already good. And Qin Hao in front of him, at first glance, was someone who often charged into battle. Even if not, his courage and experience were much stronger than himself. He needs to learn more in order to make a difference in the future, so it would be best if Qin Hao could join Cao Cao's account. Anyway, he wouldn't dare to fight so many yellow turban soldiers alone. Just now, he was constantly suggesting that Cao Cao retreat. May I ask where the general is from? It's all about Southerners, Qin Hao said impatiently. It's very Southern. Xiahou Dun asked again, who should I learn from? My martial arts are so skilled. I practiced it myself. Qin Hao continued impatiently. This NPC is really annoying. Is he going to say he's a gamer? And this game seems to have no job transfer system or anything like that, he really doesn't have a master. Can you practice so well on your own? Xiahou Dun exclaimed, General is really talented. I dare not take it for granted, Qin Hao said helplessly. It's just innate divine power. Xiahou Dun admired and said, I have seen many people who are also born with divine powers, but there are very few who can be as brave and powerful as a general. Brave and extraordinary. Qin Hao secretly smiled in his heart. He didn't even pay attention to the crooked melons, cracked dates, shrimp, and soldiers like Huang Jin. Moreover, if one dies, they will die. Being able to resurrect is just a painful thing. He doesn't have much experience and equipment at the beginning, and he's not short of time. It's not too late for him to fight back after a while when he's weak. Zhaozuiyuan.com Of course, being able to stay alive is a bit more, striving to upgrade faster than other players. Thinking of this, he also had some doubts. There were so many soldiers with yellow scarves just now, why did they suddenly disperse and not a single person was seen? General Xiahou, why are these yellow turban army running so fast? There's no one left here. Where have they gone? Upon hearing these words, Xiahou Dun was puzzled and said, I'm also very strange. Where have they all gone? We haven't seen any scattered troops along the way. There are many soldiers with yellow scarves, and after being expelled, they will definitely scatter and flee. Even if Qin Hao and Xiahou Dun walk on a narrow path and try to avoid the enemy as much as possible, they will still encounter one or two teams of soldiers. Qin Hao believed that if something is abnormal, there must be demons. The NPC in this game has a strong sense of independence and autonomy, and the AI performance of the minions is also good. They are likely to use tactics to ambush, and if they fall into an encirclement, 10,000 arrows will be fired at once. At their current level, it will be difficult for them to cope. If you enter a weak state after resurrection, it will waste a lot of time, and you don't know where the resurrection will be. If you are killed again after resurrection, it will be even more tragic. So he took the initiative to propose to Xiahou Dun, "Where are we now?" Xiahou Dun took out the proofreading of Sinan and said, "We are in the south." "Where will the troops of the Yellow Turban Army be?" "Southeast." "Okay. I suggest diving down and exploring the situation in the southeast. If there are ambushes ahead, it will be detrimental to us." Xiahou Dun frowned tightly upon hearing this. He didn't expect Qin Hao to be so vigilant. He made a lot of sense. Now he's leading troops south to protect Qin Hao, which is like leading troops. It's also good to go ahead with Qin Hao to investigate the situation and prevent any accidents. Chapter 7. Desperate Cao Cao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, light cavalry stealthily. Qin Hao and Xiahou Yuan traveled southeast along a small path and sent scouts to explore the dense forest. Quickly, the scout returned in shock and said, "Someone. Someone." Xiahou Dun was startled and immediately dismounted, gesturing for the soldiers to dismount and tie their horses in the forest behind him. Qin Hao also decisively followed over, wanting to see how many people were ahead. Arriving at a highland, they were shocked to find that a large number of yellow turban soldiers were rushing towards Cao Cao's direction. Xiahou Dun panicked and exclaimed, "Not good. The Yellow Turban Army has increased its troops to surround the captain. We must rush back to reinforce immediately." After hearing this, the soldiers immediately drew their swords and prepared for battle. Unexpectedly, Qin Hao said extremely calmly, "Why are you in a hurry?" Qin Hao is brave, but not without a brain. Just now there was a sneak attack from behind, and even the Yellow Turban Army was not on guard, which is why they were able to kill so easily. Now they are on guard before fighting, it's hard to please. He has played many similar immersive virtual games, especially this ancient war game, and the production team no longer designs brainless enemies without a sense of experience. Moreover, as I just saw, the enemy will be afraid and retreat if they cannot fight. Qin Hao didn't want to kill himself too hard and let the enemy run away again. If he could kill them from behind and cut off their retreat, they wouldn't have time to run and could kill more people. Or if they cross over and rush over, they will still be in chaos. Taking advantage of chaos and looting, achieving twice the result with half the effort. Playing games requires a brain, otherwise you will be a rookie for life. Despite this, Xiahou Dun was still very anxious and said, "But the captain is on his way to Changxi. If he doesn't go, there won't be enough time." "No." Qin Hao still objected, "It's a waste of time to take a detour now. If we don't arrive, the captain may have been attacked long ago. Take advantage of the enemy's lack of detection and go behind them to catch them off guard." "No way." Xiahou Dun shook his head and said, "The safety of the captain is the most important. Besides, the enemy is several times greater than us." The Xiahou family only listened to Cao Cao's words, and his younger brother Xiahou Yuan even helped Cao Cao go to jail. If Cao Cao died in battle, Xiahou Dun would also have no intention of making contributions. Seeing that he refused to follow him, Qin Hao did not object and immediately said, "Then you can take people back and I will kill them myself." Sigh. Xiahou Dun couldn't help but sigh, pondered for a moment, and then gave orders to a general behind him. "Bring half of your troops to follow General Qin and protect his safety. Others come with me to support Captain." "Yes." Xiahou Dun turned his horse around and instructed Qin Hao, "General Qin, I have been ordered by the captain to protect you comprehensively. I understand your strategy, but I cannot abandon the captain. Please order these people and horses to follow you. Don't fight to the death. If anything unexpected happens, my troops will escort you to retreat. Qin Hao does not object. Through his previous combat experience, he understood that the more troops and horses there are, the greater the momentum, and the more afraid the enemy is. The more afraid they are, the more chaotic they become. Moreover, in this kind of game, he will definitely have to lead troops in battle in the future and temporarily familiarize himself with how to lead troops. Farewell to Xiahou Dun. Qin Hao led his troops forward. He dismounted and walked discreetly, while he and the soldiers behind him hid in ambush in the bushes. In the middle of the night and early morning, I couldn't see my fingers when I reached out. In this era, there were no searchlights, thermal sensors, and other equipment, making it difficult for the enemy to detect them. The Yellow Turban army did not light any torches and sneaked in late at night, but they were numerous and massive. Even if they were hidden, they would still make noise. The general dispatched by Xiahou Dun swallowed his saliva when he saw this scene and said timidly, "General, with so many people, are you sure we want to rush over? What are you afraid of?" Qin Hao Bai gave him a glance. "If you're afraid, go back now." As soon as these words were spoken, the general dared not say more. Cao Cao despises cowardly soldiers the most, and those who are generals must obey. If he is sent to follow Qin Hao, he must follow him to the end. Unless Qin Hao dies in battle or he retreats. But even so, he was well prepared, sealing the horse's mouth with a cloth strip and tying it under a tree, ready to retreat at any time. At the same time, he gestured for the soldiers behind him to follow the movement of the Yellow Turban army. However, Qin Hao did not take immediate action, but signaled them to hold their ground. He's not that foolish, he can't be cheap to Cao Cao. Cao Cao's side is at war, attracting attention. He then rushes forward to kill the enemy, which makes it easier. And after the Yellow Turban army arrived at a certain location, they stopped moving and dispersed in ambushes nearby. Sure enough, Qin Hao signaled to hold his ground and wait for the opportunity before rushing out. To the northwest of Changxi, Cao Cao slowly advanced with 1,200 soldiers and horses, still 20 miles away from Changxi city. According to his idea, the closer it is to Changxi, the better, so that it is more convenient to support and join forces with Huangfu Song. He came unprepared all the way, but in a place that was easy to defend but difficult to attack, he saw a group of Yellow Turban soldiers. Roughly calculated, there were 2,000 people, and he immediately led his troops to quietly approach and capture them. The Yellow Turban army had weak combat capabilities and was quickly repelled. Seeing this scene, Cao Cao was very excited. He is well versed in military tactics and understands that attacking the heart is paramount. If we can kill this Yellow Turban army, it will definitely boost the morale of the army, and we will only be repelled and our morale will be low. At the same time, it can also inspire the soldiers trapped in Changxi city, letting them know that the court's reinforcements are strong. Moreover, the closer it is to the Longxi city, the more it can join forces with Huangfu Song. Want to run? It's not that easy. He raised his long sword and pointed it forward, aiming to establish prestige in front of these soldiers and immediately lead the charge. Attack! Eliminate this Yellow Turban army. Yes. The general led the charge and morale surged. The troops behind immediately advanced and attacked and killed several miles of Huangjin. However, just as they were all out, the Yellow Turban army, who had been chased after, suddenly came back. Suddenly, flames lit up and thousands or even hundreds of Yellow Turban soldiers suddenly emerged from the flank. For a moment, flags covered the sky, the earth shook, flames lit up, and troops clashed. There is an ambush. The soldiers fought to the death. The Yellow Turban has a large number of soldiers, several times stronger than before. Cao Cao immediately retreated when he saw the situation was not good, but he did not expect that the main target of the Yellow Turban army's attack was not him, but a team of cavalry was sent to surround him behind. Surround and annihilate it. The Yellow Turban army was so skilled in military tactics that Cao Cao was immediately stunned. He only has over 1,000 people, how to deal with it? At present, we can only break through. The soldiers immediately escorted him and launched a surprise attack, but the enemy gathered and surrounded him, striving to completely annihilate them. If he had just encountered the Yellow Turban army, he could have broken through the encirclement. But judging from this posture, there were more Yellow Turban troops than just now, and he was powerless to resist. Cao Cao sighed helplessly as he looked up to the sky. This is his first time leading troops, and he didn't expect to be trapped and die here. The heavens are unfair. I still have a great ambition that has not been fully realized, and now I have lost my life here. The heavens are unfair. The soldiers under his command suffered heavy casualties, and were prepared to fight to the death around Cao Cao. Cao Cao was in despair. He can only beg the heavens to let him break through successfully, as he has a bad start. At the critical moment, suddenly one person was killed. Xiahou Dun. He brought troops and horses to join the Yellow Turban army. Captain, don't panic. Yuan Rang is here. Yuan Rang. Cao Cao saw Xiahou Dun as if he had seen a life-saving straw, regained his composure, and regained his confidence. The soldiers were also like this, and their morale was greatly boosted when searching for the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com. However, as soon as the passion in my heart ignited, a cold water suddenly poured down. Because Xiahou Dun came from the oblique rear of Cao Cao and was facing the Yellow Turban army. Although the Yellow Turban army was initially caught off guard by being killed, they quickly formed teams to be prepared. Xiahou Dun had few soldiers, limited combat experience, and not very skilled in martial arts, leading to a deadly battle. And he didn't bring Qin Hao. If Qin Hao had come, Cao Cao had at least half a chance, but now there was no Qin Hao. He couldn't help but feel disheartened and could only lead troops to gather and try to break out of the enemy line. The warhorse was hooked by the sickle gun of the yellow scarf, and he dismounted. Fortunately, the surrounding soldiers came to rescue him. Without horses, he cannot break through, can only fight on foot, and is in danger behind the Yellow Turban army. A group of people are ambushing. They are the soldiers and horses sent by Huangfu Song to welcome Cao Cao. There are 200 of them, observing the battle situation to the death. I was ordered to come and support, but I dare not move now. They are afraid of death. There are too many soldiers with yellow scarves, rushing forward is death. Unfortunately, Captain Cavalry, this formation, we used to die. The general said, we must preserve our strength. If we act rashly, not only will Cao Cao die, but we will also die. It looks like Cao Cao shouldn't be able to escape. When we returned, we said that the Yellow Turban army was moving quickly, and Cao Cao was surrounded. When we arrived, Cao Cao had already been killed in action. The general wanted to retreat after giving orders. Taking advantage of the current situation where the Yellow Turban army is surrounding and killing Cao Cao, without paying attention to them, they immediately retreat. However, they were about to leave when suddenly a team of people and horses blocked their way and rushed out. The leader was like a sharp knife piercing into the enemy's formation. Chapter 8. I want money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, the Yellow Turban army surrounded Cao Cao in groups. The number of people is several times that of the Han army, with cavalry, infantry, archers, and so on. Cao Cao was shot down and dismounted, and his life and death were unpredictable. At a critical moment, 100 people suddenly emerged from behind Huang Jin. The leader is incredibly brave. He rode his horse into the earthquake, swept the Yellow Turban army with a long spear, and forcefully pierced a hole in the Yellow Turban army formation that seemed like a lump of yellow soil blocking the Han army. The Han army behind him, originally hesitant to follow up, immediately followed after seeing the bravery of the leader, tearing open a gap in the Yellow Turban Army formation. The general sent by Huangfu Song, who was lurking behind the yellow scarf, was surprised and widened his eyes. Cao Cao's generals are so brave. I have never seen such a brave soldier before. The same goes for the surrounding soldiers. They are all soldiers and horses sent by the court, and Cao Cao's troops and horses are also from the court. How could they be so good? On the battlefield, Qin Hao was not fond of war. Although he felt itchy looking at the EXP chives in front of him, he understood that there were too many soldiers and horses this time, and he couldn't handle it alone. Cao Cao and his troops were besieged, and Xiahou Dun was also blocked. He only had 100 men under his command. At this moment, it should be to immediately rescue Cao Cao and lead other Han troops to break out of the encirclement. The attention of the Yellow Turban Army was all focused on Cao Cao, not expecting someone to come and kill him later, let alone expecting someone to be so brave. Although quickly forming in formation, it also quickly broke through, and the person rushed towards the blade as if not afraid of death. Whoever blocks me will die. Qin Hao wielded a spear in his right hand and slashed wildly with a knife in his left hand, like Xing Tian hanging a whirlwind in the Yellow Turban Army in the classic of mountains and seas. His subordinates behind him also became more and more brave, following him to charge. There are many people in the Yellow Turban Army who were just expelled by Qin Hao. They have seen Qin Hao's strength. When others came to intercept the Han army, they also heard that one person was very skilled and killed nearly 100 of them. So everyone was cold-hearted, although they didn't retreat, they didn't dare to directly step forward to stop them. Amidst chaotic warfare, Cao Cao was exhausted. If it weren't for the soldiers fighting to protect him, he might have died by the sword of the Yellow Turban Army long ago. But the enemy's encirclement became smaller and smaller, and they were almost powerless to resist. For Yellow Turban soldiers armed with spears thrust towards him. In times of life and death, a few arrows fly to pierce through the enemy. Immediately after, one person broke through the enemy line and leaped towards them. Qin Hao! Cao Cao exclaimed excitedly. Qin Hao, who was riding a horse, stood before him like a savior, with a lofty and glorious image, like Xiang Yu alive and a fierce tiger descending the mountain. Hurry up! Follow me on the horse. Qin Hao didn't talk nonsense, put away his knife, and went straight over to pull Cao Cao behind him. Cao Cao did not expect Qin Hao's arms to be so powerful, and he seized the saddle and mounted his horse. Looking around, there are all the Yellow Turban Army. However, even so, Cao Cao felt a sense of security he had never felt before. He took the initiative to grab Qin Hao's clothes and said, at the end of Qin, Xiang Yu led 1,000 cavalry to attack the giant deer and fight against Pengcheng. That's it. Qin Hao doesn't care what Xiang Yu doesn't do. He must lead a team to break through. There are too many enemies, and they all come prepared. He can't kill them all alone. The generals behind them also arrived, and they all felt relieved when they saw that Cao Cao was safe. There are too many soldiers with yellow scarves, probably all over 10,000. Han soldiers were few and were ambushed again, resulting in heavy losses. Moreover, these Yellow Turban armies are not as easily dispersed as the Yellow Turban armies just now. They seem to have received a death order to surround the Han army even if they die in battle. Not to mention Cao Cao, who is a drag on oil. If it weren't for this guy's subordinate Xiahou Dun agreeing to reward him, he wouldn't have saved him. He would rather kill more people, even if he couldn't finish it, he could have escaped. Besides, this guy is an NPC, maybe there will be a reward for saving him. Seeing that the enemy could not be defeated, Qin Hao could only find a way to launch a surprise attack. Qin Hao instructed, wait and follow me to rush out, head west, retreat first, don't be too eager to fight. Yes. Qin Hao led his troops to the west and said to Xiahou Dun in the distance, retreat. Divide and retreat. Xiahou Dun looked around and saw that Qin Hao had already saved Cao Cao. He was extremely excited and his fighting power suddenly surged, leading his troops to charge. Withdraw. Xiahou Dun also retreated. Qin Hao saved Cao Cao and led the charge. The morale of the Han army was high, and they followed Qin Hao to kill them. The Yellow Turban army bypassed 2 cavalry teams behind Cao Cao, but now they cannot stop Qin Hao's charge. One shot at a time. Qin Hao knocked them off their horses, and the surrounding soldiers also tried their best to cover them up. After a bloody battle, he led Cao Cao to break out of the encirclement, and the Han army closely followed behind, attacking for nearly 10 miles before finally breaking free from the Yellow Turban army. Qin Hao looked back from afar, and the Yellow Turban army was no longer chasing him. He came all the way and was upgraded again. LV.6, after careful consideration, he decided to focus all his efforts on strength. Reduced 10 times with one effort. Just now he was charging, and some soldiers tried to catch his spear. If it weren't for him wielding his sword to cut it off, his weapon might have been taken away. And he just picked up a few soldiers. If he can increase his strength, he can pick up more people. It may even be a floating combo. This is the charm of riding and chopping games. Of course, he was also injured, but fortunately he had defensive strength. His armor was smashed, his back was scratched, and his arm was stabbed. Qin Hao was very puzzled. Isn't this Cao very powerful? He was the man who defeated Yuan Shao to unify the north, and even if he suffered a defeat in Chibi, Shu and Wu could not defeat him. But upon careful consideration, now is the time for the Yellow Turban uprising. At the beginning of Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Cao Cao was just a novice and a little karami. Liu Bei was still buying grass shoes, and Sun Quan may still be a little tadpole. And he was also very puzzled. Cao Cao was not very capable of fighting. Why could his level reach level 20? Upon careful consideration, there is intelligence in my attribute bar. This game doesn't have magic attacks. What's the use of using intelligence? It should be intelligence in reality, including intelligence, memory, logical thinking ability, and so on. Even if Cao Cao is not very capable of fighting now, he is familiar with military tactics and so on. After dismounting, Cao Cao immediately knelt down on the ground. The general's life-saving kindness is unforgettable to Cao Cao. Qin Hao helplessly helped him up. Don't say anything unforgettable to him, just give him something practical. NPC rescued, why don't you give me some rewards? Why did he come to save people, or was it not because of Xiahou Dun's words of conferring titles and titles? He will help whoever gives money. If Huang Jin can give it, he will also help Huang Jin. However, some of the weapons used by those poor soldiers who were forced to practice his mother were worn out, and the blade was broken and still in use. At first glance, there is no money, so following the book garden www.zhaozuiyuan.com has no future. Moreover, with the skills and points available now, it's almost like the mall hasn't opened yet. Money is like chopping people, more is better for him. If you can earn money to upgrade the system mall now, get some props and other enhancement abilities, and be able to kill more people. He said tactfully, you don't need to thank me. What kind of rewards do Captain have? Cao Cao nodded and said, I will report to the court. That's it. Qin Hao was confused. What about pancakes? Also report to the court. How long will it take to get the money? Don't you usually receive rewards after completing tasks while playing games? Isn't rescue a mission? No way. Cao Cao must have money, he must make a fortune. What should you do if you back out? Qin Hao thought for a moment and made up an excuse, Captain, it's not that I don't believe you. Because I once captured 2 generals named Yellow Turban in the south and wanted to invite credit from the government, but I didn't receive a penny. I'm a real person. If I can't see anything real, I don't want to fight anymore. Go home and farm, and live in seclusion. Upon hearing these words, Cao Cao immediately shook his head and became very anxious. He said as if he had lost something, "General, don't worry. I will give it. I will give it." He can quite agree with what Qin Hao said. If it weren't for the incompetence of the court, the darkness of the government, and the hardships of the people, the Yellow Turban would not have formed the current power. Moreover, after the previous battle, Cao Cao admired Qin Hao even more and longed to stay by his side. What he lacked was people, not money. As he spoke, he carefully flipped through his entire body and said, "I led my troops on the expedition without carrying any treasures. Now I only have a Qinghong sword and a protective jade. If the general doesn't mind, he can use this as a token." Chapter 9. Upgrade System Mall. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Qinghong sword. Qin Hao is not very familiar, but his name should be impressive. Cao Cao emerged from the top. The sword blade is sharp and crystal clear, emitting a green light when illuminated by fire. The handle of the sword is 5 black, the guard is inlaid with gold and silver, and there are 2 characters in the middle that Qin Hao cannot recognize, but he can probably guess that it should be Qinghong. Qin Hao takes the sword. The system immediately sounds a prompt sound. Obtain the Qinghong sword, Qinghong sword. Attack plus 500, speed plus 300, agility plus 200. Good sword. Defense and attack power will increase based on changes in the previous basic ability points. Now that Qin Hao has obtained the Qinghong sword, his attack power and several attributes have increased simultaneously, adding wings like a tiger. This is the reward. He suddenly felt that the long spear and simple knife in his hand were not fragrant. What kind of thing? At the same time, Cao Cao also took off the jade pendant tied around his neck. Obtain blue jade. And then what? Qin Hao is looking forward to hearing the following explanation, such as adding some energy or adding some blood. But there's nothing. Is that all? Qin Hao reluctantly accepted it, but suddenly thought of something and immediately signaled the system to open the mall. An information panel that only he could see appeared before his eyes, which others could not see. There is a sale on the mall. And the pattern of the jade also appeared in the grid of the warehouse. He wants to try how much it can sell for. Of course, it's not good if it's sold out and left empty for Cao Cao to see. So he first took the jade and then signaled for the system to sell it. Are you sure you want to sell it? Selling. 10,000 yuan. Bull. Qin Hao didn't expect that a piece of jade could be sold for 10,000 yuan. Cao Cao was indeed wealthy, but fortunately, even a piece of jade was worth 10,000 yuan, and he gave it to anyone casually. Just now, the feeling of being at a loss in rescuing Cao Cao was instantly swept away. 10,000 yuan means you can upgrade the system mall. The first level system has nothing. They are all weapons and potions. He first spent 1,000 yuan to purchase potions to restore his stamina and health, and then upgraded. Successfully upgraded. Mall LV.2, after upgrading, Qingyu surprisingly did not disappear. Digging trenches, what kind of game system is that user-friendly? Although Qingyu still exists in reality, it has disappeared from the system's warehouse. Moreover, the Qinghong sword did not appear in the system's grid. There should be some things that can be sold, some things that cannot be sold, such as the Qinghong sword, which should belong to some epic equipment that cannot be selected for sale. View the mall. Qin Hao can see that it costs 100,000 yuan to reach the next level LV3. Pit forcing system. But upon careful consideration, wouldn't it be easy to get the money after being granted official titles and titles? View upgraded mall items. This time, the weapons have been upgraded quite a bit. There are horse knives, long spears, carved bows, crossbows, and so on. There are various temporary enhancement drugs added to the medicine, which are temporary buff drugs. At the same time, war horses are also provided. At first glance, these horses are all ordinary horses and there are no good horses like Red Hair or Jueying. It's a bit expensive, each weapon costs a few hundred yuan, and a horse costs at least 1,000 yuan. But Qin Hao saw something interesting. Experience pack. Originally, it was possible to upgrade with money. This way, there's no need to fight and kill all day. But he had a bad premonition that the game would never offer players such great benefits. With a thought, I signaled to open, and my whole body numbed. Junior Experience Pack. You can earn 100 experience points. 1,000 yuan. If you want 1,000, you only get 100 points. He can gain 100 experience by chopping 10 yellow scarf soldiers. This is a big pit. He can't jump. But on second thought, if my family's wealth is abundant in the future, upgrading will not be easy. So it's time to kill and make money. More is better. In addition, he also saw something under the second-tier mall, similar to the search circle on the website. Click and see, it is indeed a search. Although the system is flawed, it is very user-friendly. You can search in the game without leaving to view the guide, which can save a lot of time. Click to view the Yellow Turban Rebellion. The Yellow Turban Uprising was a peasant war in the late Eastern Han Dynasty and one of the largest religious uprisings in history. It began in the 7th year of Emperor Ling of Han's Guanghe reign, 184 AD. He understands all of these, including Huangjin, Dongzhuo, Guandu, and so on. The four great classics have deeply rooted in people's hearts. He mainly wants to see how the Battle of Changxi will be fought. In the early summer of the first year of Zhongping, 184 AD, Bocai, the leader of the Yellow Turban Army in Yingchuan, led more than 100,000 Yellow Turban Uprising Army. He first defeated the right middle general and the thousands of official troops led by Zhu Ju, who held the rank of Jieju, and then besieged Changxi. Changsha's defending general was the left middle general Huangfu Song. In the middle of summer, the Yellow Turban Army lacked tactical literacy and formed a camp based on grass. The official army used fire to break through the camp, causing the entire army to flee. On the way of the Yellow Turban Army's retreat, they were also blocked by the cavalry captain Cao Cao's army who came to reinforce them, resulting in heavy losses. Cao Cao reinforcements, use fire. So the way to defeat the enemy is here. The Yellow Turban Army is like wild grass, and indeed cannot kill all. Even if Qin Hao rises to level 50, it will take several days to wield a 50-meter sword to kill the enemy. And after the battle just now, Qin Hao realized that the Yellow Turban Army was not a fool, they would also learn from experience. Although I am afraid when facing the battle, I will not be in chaos. Even if I die, I will fight on. If the enemy cannot defend themselves, how will they fight and drive a bulldozer over? Using strategy can achieve twice the result with half the effort. He decided to use this plan as soon as possible to resolve the battle in Changxi City, and quickly obtain the imperial rewards and more money. After purchasing a few bottles of speed and strength-enhancing potions, Qin Yuan closed the mall. Cao Cao handed over his things, and Qin Hao was also happy, but looking back at the soldiers, their situation was not good. After the bloody battle, the losses were heavy. Only 700 people were counted, almost losing more than half. Immediately after, Xiahou Dun also returned. He only had 40 people left and suffered heavy losses. Low morale. Xiahou Dun dismounted and sat on the ground panting, there are too many soldiers with yellow scarves, and we have lost a lot of people. Should we ask the court to send more reinforcements? The soldiers also all lamented. Zhaoshuyuan.com, I can't finish it at all. They're like ants. I thought the Yellow Turban Army wouldn't be able to fight before, but now I don't expect they will even design ambushes. It seems that we are still underestimating the enemy. No wonder Zhonglang will be besieged in Changxi City. These rebels are not grassroots refugees. We must ask the court to increase troops, otherwise how should we fight? Cao Cao sighed helplessly and said, that's all. Qin Hao also understood that the more people he had, the more likely he was to win, but how long would it take for the reinforcements to come? If it's been a month or so, how can he still upgrade? It's better to rush over on his own. He asked, Captain, when can the reinforcements come? I waited here for 10 days. 10 days is not enough. Qin Hao immediately objected and said, after 10 days, the people you want to save will be gone long ago. Cao Cao shook his head and said, but how can we reinforce these hundreds of people? Why not? Qin Hao said, I'll take you over and kill as much as you can. At least you need to cooperate with the people inside to fight. After listening, Cao Cao pondered for a moment and felt that there was some truth. Now that we have come to the rescue rear, we understand that we cannot underestimate the Yellow Turban Army. Changxi City has been besieged, and Huangfu Song and Zhu Ju have been holding on for 2 months. The supplies in the city were depleted, morale was low, and the Yellow Turban Army besieged the city and launched a fierce attack. If they no longer waited for reinforcements and did not go to rescue them, Huangfu Song and Zhu Ju might both be killed in battle. Moreover, in this wilderness, they did not carry enough supplies and could not sustain it for long. It's better to send someone to communicate with Huangfu Song, and they will cover up for him to break through outside. Chapter 10. 3 Paths of Defeat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, General's words are absolutely accurate, Cao Cao said. Although we only have a few hundred people, we can still lead troops to rush and help General Huangfu break through. Xiahou Dun said, that's all we can do. It's not the best strategy to stick to it. It's best to wait for the court to send troops over again. The soldiers and their thoughts are the same. Although they were defeated in the battle, they dared not escape. Now that we have been defeated, we will be punished if we go back. It's better to kill and rescue, as the crime can be lighter. However, Qin Hao said, no way. Changxi is the last city of the imperial court in Yuzhou. If it is abandoned, it can only retreat to the vicinity of Luoyang. Moreover, once captured by Huang Jin, their morale will definitely increase. Nowadays, the morale of the Han army is declining, and the enemy is arrogant. If it cannot be extinguished, it will definitely rise in power. With one veto, soldiers such as Cao Cao and Xiahou Dun were all anxious. Qin Hao's statement is reasonable. Giving up Changxi is equivalent to giving up the entire territory of Yuzhou, which is equivalent to declaring the victory of the Yellow Turban Army. Not only that, even if they can rescue Huangfu Song, they will be punished after returning. What should we do if you go to rescue? You will be surrounded and trapped in Changxi City like Huangfu Song. If the Yellow Turban Army launches a fierce attack and the imperial reinforcements cannot arrive in time, they will all die. It's not possible to retreat either. The court will surrender and the enemy's morale will greatly increase, and they won't be able to deal with the situation in the future. Unless we can win. Cao Cao turned his head to look at Qin Hao. How could he know what he was thinking? As soon as these words were spoken, all the soldiers looked at him like monsters, their eyes widened even larger than when they were ambushed by the yellow scarf just now. How to fight? We're a few hundred people. Xiahou Dun spread out his hand and said, are you going out to die? Qin Hao lifted his long spear and said, I'm here. Don't be afraid. Hiss. Although he was indeed impressive and the soldiers were all convinced, Qin Hao's mind seemed to be off target. The Yellow Turban Army of tens of thousands of people, he killed them all alone. Isn't this a joke? Now it seems that Qin Hao is just a reckless man. Why am I already reckless enough? This guy is even more reckless than me. Xiahou Dun was puzzled, suspecting that Qin Hao's mind had been hit. General, don't be reckless. We need to consider in the long run. Think of a chicken. Qin Hao crossed his long spear with both hands and snapped it, then pulled out his Qinghong sword and roared, "Soldiers want to be wrapped in horsehide. Whoever wants to come and fight, they can come and fight, whoever doesn't want to come, I can't control it. But I just want to fight. Whoever wants to come with me, raise your weapons." At present, with low morale, Qin Hao must regain his military morale. He can fight alone, but the more people there are, the better. If a few hundred people take advantage of the fire and charge into the formation, the enemy will definitely collapse without fighting. Upon seeing this, Cao Cao's feeling surged back in his heart. The image of Qin Hao once again stands tall and towering. He is the mountain that makes him admire. Such a fierce general, time is hard to find. From childhood to adulthood, he has been reading books on war and history, and has memorized many famous phrases. What, husband's war, courage now seems like a castle in the air, unable to be realized. Now that I see Qin Hao so brave, it is true that Xiang Yu descended to earth. Back then, Xiang Yu led a 30,000 strong army to defeat Liu Bang's 56,000 strong army. It's all about courage. Cao Cao immediately raised his sword and said, "Although there are millions of people, I am on my way." The captain spoke, and Xiahou Dun also raised his sword and said, "I am willing to go too." The general takes the lead, the captain takes the lead, the deputy general takes the lead, and the soldiers are all boiling with enthusiasm. Hesitating and afraid of life and death, what kind of soldiers should they be? They seek wealth and wealth in danger. Even if they die in battle, their families can still be rewarded and their reputation can make a name for the capital. So all the soldiers stood up together and raised their weapons, swearing to kill Changshi. Changshi City. Huangfu Song used his voice to attack the east and the west. In order to help Cao Cao settle, he sent troops to break through the east gate and try to attract the enemy's attention. However, the bad news still came. The troops and horses sent to support Cao Cao hurriedly arrived. The leader knelt down in the tunnel and said, "General, it's not good." Cao Cao was killed and retreated, leading hundreds of people to break through. As the general witnessed with his own eyes, Cao Cao was surrounded. If it weren't for a fierce general leading troops to attack from behind, he would probably have died in the chaos of the army. He was a soldier sent to reinforce Cao Cao, but did not take action because he saw too many soldiers with yellow scarves and did not want to die, so he deliberately praised the yellow scarves in the sky. The Yellow Turban army, which was blocking reinforcements, had at least 20,000 soldiers. They were ambushing in the northwest, and if it weren't for Cao Dui's soldiers' desperate protection, he might have been in danger. "We will send troops to fight out, but we cannot fight with strength. We can only retreat." Sigh. Huangfu Song let out a long sigh. There were many soldiers with yellow scarves and brains, and he couldn't resist it. So immediately ordered the withdrawal of troops. "Adhere to the Long Society. Why don't we break through and find another fighter jet?" said Zhu Guidao. Huangfu Song said, "No way. The court will surrender. We will give up Changshi and Yuzhou, and fuel the morale of the Yellow Turban army. We will become the sinners of the world. So what should we do?" Zhu Ting said anxiously, "We can't hold on anymore. The city is short of food and grass, the soldiers and horses are tired, and morale is declining. If Bocai attacks fiercely, we will all die in the city. Wait for Sun Jian. If Sun Jian comes, there will definitely be a chance." Huangfu Song said, "The fierce tiger in Jiangdong must climb first in battle. Sun Jian." Zhu Yan shook his head and said, "He's too far away from us. Even if we don't wait, we have to wait." Huangfu Song comforted, "As long as we can hold on, there is hope. If we can't hold on, I am willing to die in battle." Huangfu Song was righteous and resolute, while Zhu Shi had nothing to say and could only continue to hold on. The Yellow Turban army. Bocai was greatly pleased to see the Han army being killed and retreated. The momentum of the Han army has been exhausted, and victory is within reach at the book garden www.zhaozuiyuan.com. All the soldiers were delighted and congratulated. However, Bocai remained calm and said, "We haven't broken the city yet, so we can't be complacent. What is the situation with the troops and horses sent to intercept the Han army?" As soon as the words fell, a soldier ran over to report. "General Bao. The Han army has been killed and retreated." "Where are the generals? Have you killed them?" "No," the soldier said. "He broke through the encirclement. The Han army was brave and skilled in battle, and we were about to surround and kill the enemy's main general. However, there was a fierce general who led 100 people to kill us, and we couldn't resist. He forcefully led his troops in and rescued the enemy's main general." Tsk Bocai felt a bit headache. How could someone be so powerful? Nearly 10,000 soldiers and horses couldn't stop him. It seems that the troops under my command are still inferior to the Han army. If we engage in close combat, we cannot fight. Now we can only defend against depletion and wait for the Han army's morale to completely decline, and only after the city's provisions are empty can we launch a general attack. Send me an order. The Northwest Army will camp in place to defend against Han Dynasty reinforcements. The troops besieging Changshi are retreating, stationed 7 miles away from the city, and sending people to call out every day. Send more troops to the east to intercept the Han army coming from the east. We have captured most of Yuzhou. General Zhang from the southwest has also captured Wancheng. We have sufficient food and grass, and we are not afraid of depletion. Block them. They can no longer hold on. Yes. The generals immediately deployed their defenses upon receiving orders. The barracks surround Changshi city for dozens of miles and continue to run along the long lines to the northwest and east. In this way, the Han army was unable to enter from both the east and west, and Changshi city was besieged, with almost all food and supplies running out and everyone in danger. 3 ways to retreat. The downfall of the Han army has become a foregone conclusion.